What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider gavv, episode 25. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Pretty good, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. We just wasted the first 20 minutes of our recording time reminiscing about old Blink-182 songs. So, I'm
we're
basically...
We're off to a solid start in 2025.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm basically at the top of my game. This is what I was born for. Remembering the track listing of old compilations that Blink-182 was on.
And listen to some garbage core country music.
Not garbage core, no. Stop.
Down to the river.
We used to do, very briefly, I did a music podcast, and we literally have one person out there listening who will know about that because she was on it with me at one point. And that's I like weird music, and I like sharing weird music with people, even if people make fun of it. Toby,
I don't think it's that weird, but it's that thing where like we all get into our own weird like niches of stuff.
We do, yeah.
And then no matter what, when you show anybody, you just get like the flat face, like the Discord flat face. Because like that's even a not weird, but it's an old like YouTube meme of that I've even joked about. Like you find a YouTube video, like this is the funniest thing ever. I laugh hysterically at it, and as soon as you show it to anybody else, they just stare at you, and you're like, "What have I done? This is
oh my god, I'm not funny. This isn't funny. What are my sensibilities?
Like, no, it's funny. It's real funny. Like it gets funny. Like don't worry about it. But it never does for those people. No one ever gets it.
No, I feel like now that I'm older. and I super really don't care what people think about me for the most part. Not trying to fit into like a high school social structure or anything. I think I'm both much more free with the things that I like, kind of wear my heart on my sleeve about things that I like, and I feel like I surround myself with people who are much more welcoming about the weird stuff that I'm into and much more into like the weird stuff that I'm into. But I remember in high school, it was like, you're trying to be cool and stuff. And I remember at one point in high school, I got into nerdcore rap, which is exactly what it sounds like if you're out there listening and you don't know what it is. It's rap music, but for nerds about like computers and shit and D&D and stuff. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. And I remember it was like MC Frontalot was the main one that I liked a lot.
So there's a bunch of them. Like I always liked MC Lars or like MC Chris was a big one.
Yep.
Mega Ran, I think it still does stuff.
Oh yeah. Most of them are still around doing things. Lars like I don't think Lars like normally lumps himself into the nerdcore stuff, but he totally is. It's the exact same thing.
So he still does because I still follow him, and he just re-released one of his old albums on vinyl, which of course I had to Kickstarter and buy it, much like the old days.
Of course.
So I have many handwritten letters from him that say, "Thanks, Toby," and draws a picture of a robot or something else.
Oh yeah, I've got some of those too.
But at least he specifically, he is lit hop now for the past a good chunk of years, probably like I feel like close to a decade, and even his old songs like that too. But basically, he teaches you old timey literature poems like
Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, exactly.
Like he has a whole like Edgar Allan Poe album. Yep. And it's just basically taking the old stories and making them into lyrics almost, where it's not like word for word, but it's the same vibe. But I think he's done that in almost every album he's had, because there's a real old one that's called like Annabelle Lee. Yep. I don't remember what story she's actually from, but it's her whole like sad story of like, oh, my father the king was gonna kill me and I ran away and now the witches came and blah blah blah, or whatever the hell the Annabelle Lee story was.
Back in the day, he used to call his genre post-punk laptop rap.
Laptop rap was always the other name I heard for it, because that was, people make fun of it now, but that was the joke then. It was either laptop rap or backpack rap. And either way, it was because you put your laptop in your backpack, and when you go to perform, you just plug your laptop in on stage, and you press play and rap to the beat. And there's tons of videos of like all these people doing that, which I always thought was funny. Like it's just a dude standing next to his laptop on stage, rapping songs everybody knows.
Yeah, because you've just like, you're either rapping over an existing song or you've just made a loop in like Fruity Loops or something. Yeah, you're just pressing play and then you're rapping. But I found this whole genre, it really spoke to me as a young nerdy kid. I was very into it. And I finally shared it with one of my friends. And I remember distinctly still, I'm a 37-year-old man. And I distinctly remember the judgment that I received from this friend when I was like, "Oh, so I've been listening to this music called nerdcore rap," and it was searing, Toby.
It was good. It was big enough to make it stick. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then I kept listening to it. I just stopped telling people about it until I got a little older. But yeah, we should get into writing rap songs. I think you and me
About
anything. What if we did the first Kamen Rider rap group?
There's already Kamen Rider bands.
That's true.
I don't know if that's really that deep or good of a thought, but hey.
There are also like bands that have done rap songs for Kamen Rider, like literally for in the show and stuff too. So yeah, maybe that's not the most unique thought that I've ever had.
Well, even like the theme songs are usually like
no,
like specifically like the Back On song, the greatest song of all of them, has like the rap verse and stuff and everything else.
Listen, I got there. We don't need to keep putting me down. I got there.
We need to talk this out. Someone made a Pokemon song called "Gotta Watch 'Em All" instead of "Catch 'Em All." That's the Kamen Rider rap. That's 3 minutes. They probably just name off the things like O's, Forze, Gain.
Watch 'em, gotta watch 'em all. And then you say Hibiki, Drive. And then you throw in some Pokemon in there too. Pikachu, Mankey. Because you gotta fill in the song. Yeah, that could work. So speaking of sharing things with people, I am officially done sharing media with my daughter from now on, I think. Because this weekend, so she's 5 for everyone out there. And she's pretty into Spider-Man. She's been watching the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends animated show and is very into those characters. And I was telling her about, the larger Spider-Verse the other day. And Uncle Ben came up. So we were talking about Uncle Ben. And I was like, you know what? We should just watch the first Spider-Man movie. Like, watch the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Because it's good. It's Spider-Man. You like that. And you know most of these characters. And you'll get to see who Uncle Ben is because he's not in the cartoon. And I'd kind of prepped her for it ahead of time. Like, his uncle dies. And, it's really sad. But then that's what makes him be Spider-Man. And it kind of explained it to her.
What? So wait. So in all the new stuff, like the new cartoon and everything else, they just assume
there's no origin story. Yeah.
Okay, like Spider-Man's just Spider-Man. Everyone's like, oh, we've known him for 1,000 years. Little kids think he's cool.
Yeah.
It's still just, okay.
This, yes, exactly. The specifically the Spidey and His Amazing Friends cartoon is so strange because, one, Peter is Spider-Man as a young child, which is, first of all, not how it worked. And he is friends with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. And they are both also superheroes, which is not how any of these timelines work out. The relevant Miles and Gwen that would become these superheroes are from like alternate dimensions in the comics, and we don't meet them till like adulthood Peter, basically.
Has her neck snapped in the cartoon yet?
No, because the version of Gwen Stacy who becomes Ghost Spider in the comics doesn't die. She's from the alternate dimension. And it's the Peter's Gwen who died when he was younger. And then, of course, this other person comes in who is Gwen Stacy, but is from a different dimension. And she didn't die. She became a superhero instead. Anyway, long story short, the cartoon plays very fast and loose with all of this. And they're friends and they're kids and they're superheroes. So she had no idea about the origin of Spider-Man or about this whole like Uncle Ben thing. And you can describe an Uncle Ben character dying and have a kid like kind of accept it, but then sort of like seeing it on the screen is very different. And I didn't really realize this until we're watching it. And I realized that I'm explaining to a 5-year-old a murder that occurred during an attempted carjacking. And I'm like, this is maybe a little too intense. Maybe this is too far, because she's like, where did he get shot? And I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe like the stomach. It's like, okay. And we're just like watching this old man bleed out on the sidewalk. And I'm like, okay, well, this was probably a mistake. I probably went too far. But we kept watching the movie. And one thing I really didn't anticipate. So in the kids cartoon show, she has a Green Goblin character in that show. She knows all about the Green Goblin. And I was like, oh, the Green Goblin's in this movie. It's awesome. You already know who that character is. You have the connection. Green Goblin in the first Sam Raimi movie is fucking terrifying. I don't know if you remember any of this.
Yeah, William Dafoe's a nightmare.
Willem Dafoe is a nightmare. Exactly. Not only is he a nightmare and any scene he's in is kind of terrifying, they also are constantly in that fucking movie doing jump scares. And I completely forgot about the jump scares where they are flashing to the Green Goblin mask for like half of a frame and flashing back, and like they make this scary noise when they do it. And then at one point, like Green Goblin literally blows off the side of Aunt May's house again in a jump scare. Like, yeah. And he yells at her while she's praying the rosary or whatever. He yells at her to like finish it. So anyway, so I traumatized my daughter is what I'm getting at here. And for the past 2 nights now, she's had a horrible time sleeping because she's having nightmares about Green Goblin. And I've told her like, yeah, I'm really sorry. Green Goblin's not real. I promise he's not real. And then she's like, yeah, but he's still in my brain. I'm like, you know what? That's fair. I can't do anything about that.
And he's more real in the version you showed her.
I know.
Than the cartoon she used to love.
I messed up big time. And the other thing that I did the exact same freaking day, Toby, was she's a big John Cena fan as well.
She can see him?
Well, she can see him, shockingly. Yeah, she's had a John Cena toy, like literally since birth. And so she's known who John Cena is. Despite not watching much wrestling, she's known who John Cena is and has been a big John Cena fan. So him like coming back to wrestling has been exciting for her because she actually gets to see him like wrestle for the first time.
Before you finish this, because I think I know where it's going, you should have given her nothing and pretended like you were holding a toy and handed it to her and just been like, this is John Cena, you can't see him.
Yeah, that's true. I should have.
That's really, of all these stories, that's like the worst parenting I'm hearing right now.
I did miss out. So if you guys aren't aware, John Cena has been a good guy for like 22 years in wrestling. He's like the quintessential wrestling good guy. And
not only is he a wrestling good guy, he is like the most Make-A-Wished person of all time. And like, barring some crazy takes he's had about China when he was doing stuff with China, like they never made him a bad guy, aka a heel in wrestling, because A, he sold a shitload of merchandise, but B, like kids loved him way more than way more than my generation loved Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I think that next generation loved John Cena even more.
Yes, totally.
And because of the Make-A-Wish and everything else, they always said like, we can't make him a bad guy. It's gonna fuck up people's it's gonna actually mess up kids, kind of deal.
Yeah, that was always the vibe you heard, and like it made sense when you would watch the shows. Like these kids were clamoring for this guy in a way that like adults really couldn't even comprehend. Like there was a long time in wrestling. People forget about this era. There was a long time in wrestling where John Cena would come out and it would literally be competing chants of "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," and you could tell that the Cena sucks part were all the adult men, and the "Let's go Cena" was the like throngs of children in the audience just needing their hero to win despite all odds. And that's how it has continued to be. Like even in modern times, like the kids yearn for the Cena. So
I feel like it's more of a, like they still do it, but they do it as like a joke. Like he laughs at both sides because he knows like the people yelling Cena sucks is really just more like, hey, this is just our way of interacting with you, but no one actually thinks it. I feel like at some point.
Sure. And even honestly in like the last year of him like kind of being back and like, you know, doing his farewell tour, the like Cena sucks stuff is gone entirely. Like everyone is cheering for Cena at this point. He's really over with the adults now because they were younger originally during his first run. And it's like, yeah, I liked Cena when I was a kid. And now the kids that are kids now are seeing him for the first time and he's colorful and he's fun and they're loving him. So like he really has been like universally cheered, it seems like, for a little bit now. And this weekend at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, he turns heel. He becomes a bad guy in this really like dramatic fashion. There's this like champion Cody Rhodes that everyone loves. He kicks Cody Rhodes just in the nuts and he bashes him in the face with the championship title and makes him all bloody. And he does all this because he's like siding with The Rock, who's like the ultimate bad guy right now.
And even in real life, he also seems kind of like a garbage person. But
the John Cena or The Rock? Which one?
The Rock.
Agreed. Yes, agreed.
Or no, Dwayne Johnson. I want to clarify. Dwayne Johnson seems like a monster.
I agree.
The fakest motherfucker there is.
Yeah, he's talk about a guy, not to get too sidetracked, talk about a guy who has had a shocking turn of public perception for him is Dwayne Johnson in the past, I'll say like 2 years. It has gone from being kind of universally loved to people kind of just thinking he's sort of a dick.
He pees in bottles and makes people clean it up.
Yeah. All of that stuff came out where he's like kind of a monster on movie sets. And yeah, he just doesn't seem like a down-to-earth dude like you want him to be. But he's back in wrestling. So we watched that John Cena turn. And again, I thought going in that like, hey, it's John Cena. We'll watch it. We'll check it out. And then it was like a little bit more traumatic than I was expecting, because she like a couple times after that would just randomly stop and I'd be like, hey, what's wrong? And she'd be like, I'm just sad about John Cena.
So basically this week, you've tortured your child with all the things that she loves and showed her the evilness in all of them.
Genuinely, truly did. And I was actually like upset with myself this weekend because I'm like, this is too far. I told my wife, like, I'm not sharing like movies or anything with her anymore. Like, we're just going to watch Spidey and Friends. That's all we're going to do. Like, I'm not going to like try to like watch things that are a little too old for her, because it's just backfiring horribly now. Just age appropriate things. That's it from now on.
You should show her Bambi. That's a real happy movie.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Old Yeller, it's a good one about a nice family dog.
Totally. Just anything where animals die and things you love get destroyed. That's really what we're looking for recommendations. So if anyone has any of those out there, please share them. That'd be great. Toby, let's jump into this show. It's about time we got this here show started. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me break it down. What's going to happen on the show. You and I are going to talk about Kamen Rider gavv episode 25. And then after that, we got a whole slew of emails to catch up on. We didn't read any emails last week, so we're going to get to those this time.
That sounds like a lot of emails.
It's like 4. We have like 4 emails to read. I just wanted to build the anticipation.
There's a lot.
There's so many.
I'm now 4 times more hyped for that email section than I would have been otherwise.
I can only get so hyped. Toby, Kamen Rider gavv episode 25. This was like a Lakia focused episode or Rakia. I don't know what his name is. It's changed. It started with an L, now it has an R. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
That's why I still go with Loggy 9, because that's the easiest one for me to remember, because it's more like a code name than like a real name, and that's how true. I operate in this environment.
And I know in Japan there's like L and R confusion, and like they sound the same, and the translation makes it difficult. But like I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So yeah, let's say Logga 9. After we've had some intense episodes, I feel like, and big things happening in the last couple weeks, we have a little bit of a slower slice of life episode this time around.
Yeah, like in general, I feel like this is the slowest 25 episodes in. This is like the first vaguely miss-ish one for me, just because I feel like it was a whole day of nothing. Like I know the point of it. I know what the end game here of all this was, but compared to everything else, I just feel like this was a more slow, like you said, slice of life episode.
Yeah, it feels like stuff that maybe needed to happen, but like it was all a bunch of stuff that's just like getting us from point A to point B, but it isn't point A and it isn't point B. So like we need to integrate Logga 9 into the crew. So this is sort of like learning more about him and making him a bit more personable and having him and Sachika get closer. All that makes sense. And we sort of need to continue to see the downfall of Hanto as Suga continues to kind of work his evil magic on him. All that makes sense. But like at the end of the day, those things just kind of continue. And like we didn't really get a lot of like plot revelations or anything. And no new like Gochizo or anything. So yeah, it did feel weirdly like a little bit of a slower episode, kind of based on the last few, crazy bangers that we've had. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate having the time. I enjoyed watching it. But when I, sit down and I'm taking notes and I'm reflecting on it, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess not really that much happened here, really.
No, like most of my note kind of things or like observational things is more just like the actors themselves kind of deal than like things I actually talk about in the episode. Like I was thinking about it more so this time, especially with they're all sharing ice cream together. They're having a nice little ice cream party with the new trio minus Hanto. And I was thinking about Shoma's actor, and he really does the best job of confusion when he puts food into his mouth. and like his actual like acting process of eating, and then his childlike wonderment of the quote unquote flavors of this new thing he tried.
Oh,
Yeah, like he like that the actor dude himself did a fantastic job with like, this world is new to me and what is this thing? I for whatever reason, I guess just because it was a slower episode and there are things going on, I was like, he's having a really good time with this, because they like get the hard zoom on his face while he's chomping ice cream cake, which is a brand new frosty idea, and it was a big day for him. He had the biggest day of everybody.
He did. That's true. He had a lot going on. I love in this opening bit. There's a lot of things I loved about this little opening scene. I like that we find Laganine just sleeping on a park bench, like insinuating that he's homeless. He's just asleep on a park bench. Our dude needs a better living situation, I think, is what that tells me.
Botchka does have that giant bubble house, so
yeah. Listen, give a man a bed. That's all I'm saying. Because before, I think he lived under a bridge or something. I don't know where his other lair was, but I guess now he's just sleeping in the park. So they get some ice cream. What are your feelings, Toby? This is what I desperately wanted to talk about on the podcast after we watched this scene. What are your feelings vis-a-vis ice cream versus ice cream cake?
So ice cream cake is that weird thing where I feel like when most people serve it to you, it's a frozen block.
Yep.
And you really can't eat any of it.
Yeah, it's a mistake.
But in general, I do like they usually have like the Crispies on them, the Crunchies or whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
Chocolate something. Looks like chocolate dirt, crust, flakes. I don't
Sure.
know, whatever they are.
I don't know what they're called, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Like in theory and in function, I think it's good. But there's a weird, they always get served as a brick.
Yeah.
And you stare at it, you try to eat it and you can't. And then you look away for 5 seconds and go play skee ball. And when you come back, it's just like a puddle on your plate.
Yep.
And that's all a mess.
Yeah, everyone makes a mistake. You got to let the ice cream cake sit out for like the perfect amount of time. And no one does that. Or if you do, it's too long and then it melts. But yeah. If I told you, if I said, hey, Toby, you want to go get some ice cream? And then I gave you ice cream cake, would you feel betrayed by that?
I mean, it's definitely not the same thing.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying.
I at least think with them, like more so with this ice cream cake debacle in Sachika's house. I think it's more she just wants to share new things with her friend. Because ever since the grand unveiling of like, hey, we're all kind of mutants other than you, she again just does like the best person stuff ever. And she's like, but so you love this. We'll try this now too. And they have like the weird bonding moment again of like, he eats the ice cream or ice cream cake. I forget which one of the 2 parts it was. And now he just like holds his shirt up to show everyone his stomach.
So freaking
he's like, hey, watch, look, hey, here's another guy. I just like, everyone just watches him pop out at Cheetos now.
Yeah. The fact that is just happening in broad daylight. And she's like, yeah, all right, good job. So awesome. Funny. So funny. Yeah, I definitely want to watch you pass this ice cream. Let's go. We also find out in this scene that Granutes apparently eat rocks. That's their...
I was stoked. That's the funniest thing. Because one of my actual favorite snacks is like the thick ass hard pretzels. And I always make the joke, it sounds like I'm eating rocks because it's a very loud snack. But that's basically like, that's effectively what Loggy 9 does. He eats rocks like me.
Absolutely. And I love that the selling point here was he needs money so that he can buy, quote, tastier rocks. That's what he's in it for.
And I'm impressed that he was stupid enough to get swerved by Shoma that worked.
Yeah, me too. Me too, actually. We also very quickly got the revelation that Shoma can't eat rocks because he's not, full on Granute. So when him and his mom were in Granute world, they would like find weeds to eat and stuff. They were like
he just eats dirt and grass.
Yeah.
Like a real little kid. He like plays in the mud puddles and he gets like eats worms and stuff. I guess that whole world just seems like a nightmare.
It does. It truly does.
Either you take candy drugs or you eat rocks and dirt and go on with your day.
We get a little like flashback scene where Laganine is remembering his brother and they run up to like a food stand in the Granute world, but it's just an assortment of rocks.
And it's funny because they've definitely showed that clip, I feel like, as part of other parts of like when Laganine told his little brother's story.
Yeah.
I feel like that specific clip was used back then too. And because it's like a weird monster world, you're just like, oh, random food, candy, treats, whatever, no big deal. And you don't really like think more about it. And then say they show you again, and they're like, yeah, they're freaking jonesing for rocks over there. because they're high in iron and protein.
These freaking weirdos just buying tasty rocks off a stand. Yeah. It really puts their whole nightmare world in a whole new perspective for sure. But yeah, Shoma does pop out a new ice cream, Gochizo, and in all of this, Laganine agrees to work with Sachika and help out around there. So they split up at this point. Shoma has a little job to do, and Laganine and Sachika are off to do their own job. And their first job that they encounter is helping an old woman move her furniture. And so he's very strong. He can move furniture.
He's very strong. I laughed. I was like, she now knows that all of her weird alien friends are all very muscular, and they can all just do all the heavy lifting for her while she just chills.
It's smart.
And then I thought about it today, because most of this episode was Sachika and Laganine learning humanity together, more so him than her. But I'm going to call it now, where like Gotchard's end game state was, hey, I'm either going to make the world love chemies, or we're going to find a happy world for the chemies. And they kind of got there, and then like that series is dead to me now, so who really cares? But this episode specifically has now cemented in my mind that one of the end game states, endings, theories, whatever, I now think Granutes and humans are going to live together in some sort of dual way at the end of the series. And her new job in the happiness factory is she's going to be like the official trainer to make Granutes more human. So I don't know, like there's probably a fancy term for someone that does that kind of thing. like job placement skills, help testing, whatever, like that kind of job. But her job's going to be like indoctrinating people, I guess, which is like an aggressive word for it. But like that's going to be Sachika's thing. She's going to be like, oh yeah, like anyone that wants to leave the monster planet. Oh, if you want to come here, like I'll help you find a job. I'll help you learn, like, hey, eat ice cream. Don't eat rocks. You know, there's nicer grass across the street kind of thing.
He's like that woman that you hire to teach rich kids about which fork to use at dinner. Is what it is.
Like charm class?
Yeah, exactly.
Charm class?
She's going to teach Granute charm class.
She'd be good at it. I definitely think she can pull all this off. Like no matter what this end thing is, I have faith in her and she can do it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure like that's at least the vibe I feel like they're setting up too much now. Because she already like helped. Because she even said to Shoma, like, oh, no wonder you love every time you eat new food. You used to eat grass. And like she learned to learn today. But she's basically like running the same system she did with Shoma with Laganine now of like, hey, this is a job. This is how you help people. Look, you can eat real food. Don't just eat garbage. And like, it's like the same circular story with her. So it just seems like that's a good future path for her.
Yeah, I can see it. I would buy that for sure. So after he moves some furniture, he has to lay down for a nap because he's lazy. That's the joke. And then Toby, they head off to their next job where he gets to stand in line for a cake.
And he's like, this is a pretty easy job. This is sick.
A little bit more his speed. The cake that he's standing in line for, we find out it's a cake shop that's gone viral because it was featured in, I think, Kabuto Boy, if I remember correctly. Is a VTuber.
Yep. Of all the episodes, this is the darkest timeline where we have a VTuber as the main character kind of deal.
Yep. So this VTuber featured the cake shop, and that's why it's so busy. And this kind of plays directly into their sort of third job, where we meet a young boy, who's I think named Koji, and he is going to meet this VTuber. He sent him a message. He's going to meet them, but he wants them to follow him and kind of protect him.
He slid up in his DMs, he pointed out, because then Sachika gave a hot life lesson for all of us of don't be weird with YouTubers and VTubers. Get out of people's DMs. Don't just go meet randoms.
And if you are going to go meet a random, make sure someone knows where you are so that you don't get murdered. It's always good to have a Granute at your back if you're about to go meet a YouTuber. So the YouTuber, of course, the VTuber is not what we suspect. It's a Granute, shocker! And the Granute here, the big reveal with the boy is that the boy was actually the original Kabuto boy. He was the original VTuber, and he got his like weird VTuber identity hijacked, and now he's come to I guess reveal him. He's come to kick him out and take back his identity, but the Granute's just gonna eat him instead.
I think the best part of that reveal was like the part of like the initial open was just like some girl ate some fruit tart thing in front of a TV screen with the Kabuto boy man, whatever, on it. And like you see the tongue just pop out, eat her. A day in life, you know?
You know how it goes.
Yeah. So it was just funny because when the kid walked over and he was like, no, like I'm the real Kabuto boy. You stole my gimmick. You should know what's going on here. The Granute, the monster or whatever, he just like stands up from behind the TV and he's like, oh, yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
You figured this out. And just like kind of walks away.
The ruse is up.
But it was like the most like slow, non-climatic reveal ever.
It was,
where
yeah.
It wasn't even like super clever. Like the Granute was just like sitting behind like a 40-inch flat screen TV, just like slightly off camera. And the kid was like, no, but that's me. That's not you. And he just like stands up. He's like, oh yeah, all right. We're going to come over here anyway. So, let's just talk about this.
I love the idea that the Granute is just hunched behind the TV because like he's got to be in the room, right? Because he's got to be able to grab the people with his tongue. But I love that he's just crouched behind there waiting for his moment. It's just so funny. Also, you'd think you'd hear, not to get too in the weeds here, but you'd think you'd hear his voice and the TV voice both happening at the same time. But maybe not. I don't know.
I guess people were just so excited about the fact that they're meeting Snack Boy himself.
I guess
that
so.
like they kind of overlooked it, or maybe like the TV was just so loud that you can hide the voice, or
could be.
I don't know. It could have been a soundproof curtain he was behind underneath that TV.
We'll never know.
Or a tablecloth, we're gonna call it.
I will say one of the more terrifying Granutes we've seen so far. Like
he looks like Heracross, but he's evil.
Yeah, that's a good totally. You know what? I've got nothing else to add. He looks like Heracross, but evil. Yeah, really, really teethy and scary and just kind of all over the place. And of course, because he was being followed by Login 9, Login 9 comes in to save the day.
He's like, that little idiot kid's like my little idiot brother, and I can't let him go play himself like this.
Exactly, yeah, because he has the flashback and remembers his brother, and he's like, you know what? This kid likes pudding. My brother liked rocks. They're the same thing. So yeah, he comes in to save the day, and then that's where we kind of get our end of the episode. But of course, other things are happening at the same time as that storyline. Toby, we do have a Hanto B plot as well, and Hanto basically is just kind of continuing to turn evil. Really, is what we're having for him. He goes and he meets with Suga and tells Suga, hey, this bitter chocolate you gave me, it's good shit, dog. And also, worst investigative reporter ever. He looks over and sees a stack of probably 20 pizza boxes. And he's like, oh, that's weird. And then Suga's like, yeah, I had a young friend over. Talking about, man. There's like 20 boxes here. It looks like you had a rager. Hanto just accepts that. Hanto, who has been incredibly critical of every move Suga has ever made, sees 20 pizza boxes and knows that there's like 20 bitter gavs running around, and he's like, it's probably nothing. It's probably fine. I'm sure there's nothing shady going on here.
Yeah, like, I know the one thing I think the show struggles with is when one person is doing something and they have like someone's storyline hammered down, the people that aren't directly involved with it, I feel like they kind of do like nothing at the same time. Like this doesn't like fully involve Hanto at the moment. We're just off doing his own like I'm slowly getting more evil thing kind of deal. So all they really have him doing for the day is like, hey, watch me get a little more evil, and then we're gonna go back this way. And hey, look over here, Login 9's making friends. Isn't that cool? And
yeah, I guess we do get a little bit of twist on his turning evil. Like I think he is turning evil, but we also see at the end he henshins and he fights a bitter gav. Which again, very cool choreography, not to gloss over it, but like a cool fight between him and the bitter gav. But at the end, he kind of dehensions and he's in like physical pain. So like whatever the bitter chocolate is doing to him, it's hurting him in addition to making him feel stronger and turning him evil. So, I guess there's opportunity for that story resolution to have a little bit of a twist to it. That maybe he's like physically going to be in danger in addition to maybe turning evil. So that's cool and all. But I agree. For the most part, it's like he's kind of like you said, off doing his own little thing in his little B plot and doesn't really do too much there. It just sort of, you see him in the background. At one point he runs into Shoma and kind of glares at him and then just moves on. And that's kind of it.
I'm impressed that Hanto destroyed bitter Shoma 2.0 now. So if we're keeping up with the Incredibles thing, I feel like 3.0 should be soon. If we're not going to do it's either going to be like Shoma 3.0 or it's going to be Dark Hanto 2.1, where like he's getting more dark on the inside, but it's just for like Sugar to do testing to like make his DNA split now too or something. Or something in there. Like I feel like because otherwise they're going to do the same thing twice. So I really just feel like they need to make it something a little more interesting to do like Hanto's piece, because Log 9's getting dark from his Gochizo thing when the jellyfish gets him. And now Hanto's is like a mix of just dark Shoma plus dark Log 9's. I hurt myself when I Henshin deal.
Yeah. I would love to see if the Sugar stuff eventually becomes like, okay, I've got Shoma's DNA, now I've got Hanto's DNA, and now I'm going to splice them, and I'm going to make the best Hanmo that you've ever seen. And then we just have the Ultimate Ryder. That's just the combination of the two.
We're doing Ultimate Ryder, so it sounds good to me.
And I guess the last thing then about this episode, so Shoma continues to be like at like quarter power, I feel like, because he like stumbles around in this episode and he can barely move, and he Henshin's and his ice cream doesn't last very long, and he's like falling down. The Gochizo has to like open his stomach himself.
Oh, that was hilarious. That was
push it up.
That was a good, I guess we'll call it twist, or like different way to do that, or like to add to the stress that he's under.
It was very funny, yeah.
And then even when he wanted to do one of his finisher-y kind of things, he had to use the monster's kick to make his ice cream buckle spin the way it's supposed to, because he was too weak. I thought that was a nice touch too. Yeah,
that is a nice touch. I guess I'm saying like I don't mind all that. It makes storyline sense, sort of why he's can't really walk because he's so torn up about this Hanto thing. It's like affecting him. But I don't think we can do that for too much longer. I think maybe like the Hanto blowout is in the next couple episodes. Either it's next episode or it's finishing up in the next like double episode arc. Like it doesn't feel like we can have Shoma stumbling down the street for that much longer, personally.
Yeah, or he's gonna like re-die again, or something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like Nightfall. Batman had to do too many fights, then he got his back broken, and Shoma's down that same path.
Who would be the Azrael of this universe? Who would come in and take over the mantle of Kamen Rider gavv in the meantime?
I guess it'd be Log 9.
I guess it would have to be
kind of like evil, but not real. Like evil, but not.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit harder than you are, but like I still sort of am motivated by justice. I guess that makes sense. And that's our episode. That is our slice of life Log 9 focused episode. Any other final thoughts that we missed, Toby?
No, because like I said, there wasn't really a ton of stuff going on. Like the little pieces were nice. I do think Sasha is going to be like a human trainer for all the Granutes and stuff down at the end. But aside from that, I got nothing.
Yep. I am interested to see if that prediction comes true as we get towards the end of the season. All right, folks, we'll jump over to some emails. We do have an email address that's cast@kamenridersucks.com. Once again, cast@kamenridersucks.com. If you have anything that you want to share with us, you can send those over to that email address, just like some of our friends have done in the past couple weeks here, Toby.
All the friends.
Shout out to all the friends. First email comes in from our friend Carl. Carl says, Ryder or Cider is the name of the email. Hi, Toby and Josh.
It's getting wacky again, isn't it?
It's getting wacky again.
I need to prepare myself for what can only be nonsense.
Get in the mental headspace. Hi, Toby and Josh. Hope you're both doing well. As always, I have a new business idea to share. But before we dive in, I wanted to provide an update on a previous suggestion. Back in October, I proposed the idea of entering the funeral industry with Kamen Rider Caskets and Keepsakes. Interestingly, it looks like someone took that concept seriously and has already brought it to market. St. Peter Funeral Services recently gained attention with posts showcasing themed caskets featuring Hatsune Miku, BTS, Bluey, Death Note, Star Wars, and more. Here's a link to one of their posts as proof, and I clicked on the link, and it is no longer in. I no longer view it, so I don't know if that means the company doesn't exist, or if they got taken down because they were making illegal Star Wars caskets. Who knows?
I would have to assume that if people are picking like the most popular, highly marketed things, like if they would have made like a Nintendo casket, Nintendo would have been up their ass immediately. So I can only assume that one of these big IPs were like, okay, but no, like we're not doing this.
Yeah, it looks like the entire TikTok account just doesn't exist anymore, which is very funny. So a short-lived business, but a real business nonetheless, I guess. Now, Carl's business idea for this week, Toby, is Henson Henshin. You and Toby go to the Jim Henson Company and produce Kamen Rider Muppet toys. The brand of toys would be called Henson's Henshin and would feature licensed Muppet characters as Kamen Rider alternatives. Okay, that's very cute. This is adorable so far. Such as Beaker as Kamen Rider Build, or his actor Sento. Kermit as Kekara, that's very good, from Geats, and if the licensing allows, expanding to Sesame Street to include Elmo as Kamen Rider Kuga, or the Count as Kamen Rider Kiva, just to name a few examples. Imagine being responsible for reviving the Muppets branding with this global crossover. Henshin, where Muppets transform into heroes.
Is all the Henson stuff actually that dead, or needs to come back? I know, like after Jim passed away and his son took over, they've lost some traction. But wasn't like a.
It's still still a thing, yeah. They
so
still
time means nothing anymore. But like, I feel like there was a Muppet movie a couple years ago.
Yeah,
a new one.
There was, yeah. They're putting out stuff fairly regularly. We did have the recent the recent thing where Sesame Street kind of pseudo got canceled after like however many seasons it's done because HBO I don't think brought them back for another season, and they were on HBO Max was basically like the only place that they were airing at this point. So Sesame Street maybe is in some rocky territory, but for the most part,
that's even worse. That's actually
terrible.
Offensive.
It's very offensive. Yeah, it of all the things in the world, it feels like Sesame Street's the one that should always exist. Like of all the TV shows for kids, it's like we should do whatever we can to make sure Sesame Street stays in the air. But no, we apparently don't.
But there is. So I made the joke that we're going to watch it. Which isn't there Sesame Street Kamen Rider already, where they get like mech armor and shit? And I said, is this a tokusatsu show or not?
There is one. Yeah, it's called Mecha Builders, I think.
Yeah. See, we're on the right path already.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. They put out. Yeah, we're putting stuff out. They've been doing stuff forever. They put out a TV series called The Muppets Mayhem in 2023 on Disney Plus. So there's pretty recent Muppet stuff happening. Not a recent movie though. I was thinking there was a more recent movie than this, but
was it a TV show then, or it might have been real old and time just blends together for me anymore.
I think that might be more what we're looking at here. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, I was a Muppet Babies kid, weirdly, as a young person. That was like right around the time. So I watched a weird amount of Muppet Babies, which is an animated show based on puppets, which is so strange. But anyway,
they had to get the youth, Josh. They had to get the youth.
Had to get us, yeah. Carl says that's the only business idea for this week, but I have a game to play. The game is Ryder or Cider. Below is a list of names that include both non-main Kamen Riders and Japanese cider breweries. Toby, your task is to determine
No,
which
it's
name
always me.
belongs to Kamen Rider characters and which are associated with Japanese cider brands or breweries. And then I think there's maybe a half sentence here because Carl wrote, also, Josh, anything in A, and then that's where it ends. So, not sure there.
Well, it's either non-alcoholic or something else then.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's the list. So I will tell you a word, and you tell me if it is a Kamen Rider or if it is a brewery.
And it's obviously not the main ones. Like
Not the main ones, yeah.
In this, for the sake of comparison here, like Hanto would be a secondary rider, correct?
Correct. And it's going to be the Kamen Rider name. So not the character name like Hanto. It'd be Valen in this case.
Okay.
First one is Ibuki.
Just Buki.
Ibuki.
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 Okay. That sounds like a Kamen Rider.
It is a Kamen Rider from Kamen Rider Hibiki. Kind of a similar name there. Good job. You got one so far. Next one is Kamoshika.
That sounds like a brewery.
It is a brewery located in Ina, Nagano. Next up is Marukame.
I'm going to say a brewery.
You're right. Also a brewery. This time located in Matsukawa, Nagano.
I already have a game plan for these of how I think I know which ones are which. So I think I'm going to go 100% on this bad boy.
All right. I'm excited to know your strategy at the end. So far, you're 3 for 3. Number 4, the B.
Like the, and like the letter B?
It's one word. The B, Thebee.
That's a Kamen Rider.
It is a Kamen Rider. That feels like a pretty easy one, to be honest. A Kamen Rider from Kamen Rider Kabuto. Next one, number 5. So far, you're 4 for 4. Number 5 is Hatari.
That's a Kamen Rider.
Yep, Kamen Rider from Kamen Rider Geo. Next one, number 6 is Shiwa.
Kamen Rider.
Ooh, missed that one. That is a brewery located in Shiwa, Iwate.
That's clever. Named after the city.
Named after the city. Next one, Marika. Or Murka.
I'm going to go back to Kamen Rider again.
That is a Kamen Rider from Kamen Rider Gaim. And last one, Toby, is Ringo Rilapa. I'm probably saying that wrong.
That sounds like a Mega Man enemy.
It
but I'm going
does.
to go brewery.
It is a brewery, and it also does sound like a Mega Man enemy. Located in Shinjo Yamagata. So pretty good. You only missed the one. So what was your strat there?
So I thought about it, and I feel like most Kamen Rider names are only 5 or 6 letters. So all I did the whole time was anything that was like a short 5 or 6 letter name, I said Kamen Rider. And anything that was longer, I went with the brewery because it's usually like a city or a weird name or a weird word or something.
Nice. It worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at me gaming the system.
I will say, even of the Kamen Riders that I've watched here in this list, like I didn't remember Hatari from Geo, and I love Geo. I didn't remember the name Hatari. That was a tough game. That's all I'm saying. Tough game for you. And then Carl closes the email and says, in the final segment from my email today, and maybe Shade already talked about this, but there was recently a live show with the cast of Kamen Rider gavv. During this show, though, Hanto's actor said the director said he looked like he got cheated on, and even went so far as to say in front of an all-ages audience that was like an NTR for him. Yeah, we did talk about this in a previous email. An NTR, for those of you that don't remember, is like a cuckold show. So Hanto's actor, and we talked about this in a previous email section, basically said that it was a cuckold drama when he was wronged by Shoma. So that's fun. Carl says goodbye. With that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the holiday. This is an older email. May you share a Boston cream pie donut with someone special in your life, just as Hanto and Shoma did this week. Grip tight and ride hard. Sincerely, Carl. Thank you very much, Carl.
Because I know who it's coming from. A Boston cream pie doesn't sound very proper.
Listen, just get yourself a Boston cream pie. Toby, just smush it and let the cream run all over you. It's really great.
Next email. It's
really wholesome. Next email comes in from Shade. Shade says, honey, the neighbors are competing to be number 1. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you guys had a nice week off while you guys were away. The first episode of Number One Sentai premiered. So instead of writing emails, I just rewatched the episode over and over and over again. LOL. Anyway, a new Sentai series just came out, so gavv's in a bit of a mellow period right now, but don't get too comfortable because there are things yet to come.
Is that why they did it? Is that the problem? Is that why they watch the slow episode because there's a new Sentai show?
It lines up like off by a week, really. Because we're in like episode 3-ish territory, right? Of Number One Sentai at this point.
Either 2 or 3, yeah. Maybe they miscount in the beginning.
Maybe. But that's all for the future right now. Let's get to the 2 episodes worth of trivia from the producer's blog. So there's a new intro-outro bumper for when the shows air on TV, featuring both gavv characters and Gozyuger characters. Apparently, Gozyuger has a fighting game motif, so they made it in the style of a character selection screen, which is very fun.
That's the way to do it.
In the scene where Hanto's mom was violently thrown into a vat of, the acid or whatever, the blog mentions how it must have been scary to film a scene where you have to struggle underwater. However, the actress was instead very positive throughout the whole process, saying, quote, "I'm fine because I've been swimming." Apparently the vat of water was a transparent bathtub that was borrowed from somewhere else. The blog talks about the poor innocent civilian who was attacked by Dark Shoma. The civilian in the car was actually Valen's suit actor, which is fun. It's always nice when they do cameos like that. He was suspended in a car upside down by a crane and spun around a few times. And the blog even mentioned how Hanto betrayed him by picking to save his friend instead of his suit actor, which is very funny. Then we can move on to the second producer's blog of these 2 episodes. There's a funny picture of the director showing Sachika how to handle her floppy saw, like waving it around in front of her, which is good. The blog then talks about director Morota's direction of the flashback scene, like how the characters reminisce themselves in the scene instead of just a simple transition. So like basically like she's looking back at her desk where she can see the past version of herself. Which is way more of an artsy way to do that than just like cutting to a flashback. So
yeah, definitely.
That's cool. We get to know more about our octopus monster of the week. They said the owner of the yakiniku restaurant was wearing an octopus shirt for some reason, even though he was a yakiniku restaurant. So he was definitely a bad guy. That feels a little stereotyping here. The monster was an octopus, so they definitely had to give him ink powers. The director was very particular about how the ink would stain, so he applied it on Hanto himself. So the director actually got his hands dirty and got Hanto all inky. The scene was filmed during a hot day, so he had to do his scenes for 4 hours straight while covered in hot ink.
Like he put the ink on because when he was trying to control the staining, or like he just felt bad that he had to do it, so he did it or something? Or?
I don't know if it's like a, I wouldn't ask my people to do things I wouldn't do myself type of thing, or if it's like, well, I don't want it to get in his eyes, so I'm going to make sure I do it myself. I don't know. Very confusing, because he definitely had it on his face and on his skin. It wasn't like they were trying to keep it off of his skin.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what they're going for there. But they did mention how careful they had to pour the ink during the first scene because it would be difficult to reshoot. Basically, getting the ink in the same spots again would be hard to do. So
not even that, but like I have to assume like just cleaning in general or like trying to redo anything is probably like not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more of like a one shot, okay, we're going to do this, it's going to work kind of deal versus trying to do it multiple times.
Totally. Yeah. Shade says, next up, we get our first upgrade form for the episode, Kamen Rider Valen Chocolate form. I assume this is just darker chocolate, but IDK, they didn't explain what it is yet. According to action director Fujita, he created the action scenes with the weight of each bullet in mind. If his movements are somehow wilder and more agile than usual, giving the impression of a new power. However, from the suspicious cut of Saga at the end of episode 24, it seems like there is some ulterior motive behind his power. Of course, we know that to be true. Shade says that... Shade is explaining what the new Chuckled powers are, linking Valen's stat page. So the new things that are covered in ink are... Oh, no, wait. The stat page just shows height, weight, punch, kick, jump, speed. So it's literally the difference in metrics of those. Okay, I don't care. Moving on. I don't care that Hanto jumps 0.8 feet farther or whatever. Shade says, usually these stats are mostly nonsense and shouldn't be taken too seriously, but they do have a narrative purpose sometimes. Valen's stats compared to everyone else in the series are actually quite pathetic. He doesn't have any special powers like Gavv or is super skilled like Vram. So throughout the series, he might as well just be a normal guy in a suit brawling with monsters.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah,
he's not a monster. He's just...
Yeah. He can fight Granutes, but he can never overpower them, which made Lakia's speech about Hanto being a liability a few episodes back hit even harder. What Chakol did was enhance Valen's physical capabilities by 3x. No special powers or anything, he just hits harder and is slightly more nimble. Kind of a perfect upgrade for Hanto if you think about it. So he's Strong Boy now. The team borrowed a food truck and added art when they were doing the ice cream blizzard sorbet truck. And then, yeah, we talk about the chocolate form. Kamen Rider gavv Blizzard Sorbet, the ice cream form everyone's been asking for.
The best one.
The ice cream on the arm is designed to make it look like Gavv is really licking ice cream, which is great. Licking to perform a technique is what they were going for. Sorbet Gorchizo is a special Gochizo following caking. So they talk about how to show the special feeling that other Gochizo do not have in play, including the melting characteristic when used. And it seems like Sorbet is not immortal, unlike caking, although I'm not entirely sure if that's because it always dies after one use, unlike the others because it was a hot day outside. And I guess,
the first time they fight if there's like a snowy episode or a frosty day, you could fight longer probably. That damn sun melts them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, interesting to know if that changes anything. I imagine it would. They'll probably think that through. Next, let's talk about the action. This time, the action team really put their heart and soul into creating the action scenes. The action scenes, which used a scaffolding, were also shot off-site and on a green screen. Filming was quite difficult, with detailed calculations being made while imagining the finished image. Yeah, that's it for the first email from Shade. Shade says, be sure to check out #1 Sentai Goes Yuger. You might even recognize a familiar face or two in the first episode.
I will not.
Well, we might. We're going to try to finish O's first, I guess we should say.
Someday. That show will end.
And then we might try to catch up on Goes Yuger. We'll see. Our next email comes in from Kieran. Kieran says, I just wanted to throw out a quick message to welcome Toby's favorite Pokemon to the crew. And then Kieran links an image of Vanillite, the ice cream Pokemon.
That's one of the worst.
Yeah, well, now we've got it in gavv, so congratulations. And you love it in gavv.
You know what? Maybe Shoma or Laga 9 can eat some trash instead. Then we'll have a Trubbish form, and then we'll really be winning the freaking show. Whoa. Now
we're doing it. And then he'll eat a keychain, and then we'll have Keyring Pokemon, whatever his name is, I forget.
Those are like the main three that I always go to for this joke.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered the bases now.
Those are the three worst Pokemon. And I'll say it. I'll say it here. I'll be brave. Kieran says, also Sachika is just the best, and no one better hurt her. I agree.
Exactly.
Kieran. Yeah. And then our final email, once again, comes in from Shade, but it's actually the one for this week. Shade has some more things to tell us. Shade says, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rock Tasting with our host, Rakia. I wonder what type of rocks he'll enjoy next time. Premium Bandai.
They should do something where, like this week he ate plain rocks. Because he's like, I have to eat rocks. This is my food. They should do something where, like, he goes to, like Breaking Bad and Marie and his damn minerals and everything. But you should go to, like, a rock show or, like, a fancy quarry and find, like, opals and all sorts of, like, actual shiny rocks. And then they give them special powers. Or they taste extra sugary or something.
They should. I recently did some rock tumbling. And I tell you what, the rocks that were done with that after the 6 weeks of tumbling or whatever, they look downright tasty. I'd try them.
You did tumble for 6 weeks?
It was so long, dude. we got
you
this.
leave it running? Like you just have a rock tumbler running in your house 24/7?
Yeah, it's maddening. Yeah.
Why don't you like mine for crypto at that point? Like it's probably burning the same amount of energy.
No, it's burning way less energy than crypto. Maybe if I was mining crypto in like 2014 or something, but mining crypto in 2025, the year of our Lord 2025, first of all, I'd have to buy like a crazy like box set of 4090 GPUs or something, and then I'd have to plug it into the nuclear power plant. This is just a little thing that spins and sits there and it tumbles rocks.
Why 6 weeks?
Well, if you really must know, Toby, it's because
I do. I'm asking the questions for a reason, sir.
all right, you put the rocks in, you put a little bit of water in, and then you put in this grit, which does the like grinding. And you step the grit down. So for the first week or so, you use very, very like gritty grit. And then just like with sandpaper, it gets finer and finer and finer as you go. So you go through 4 stages of grit level. The very last grit is basically just like powder. And it's really just polishing the rocks at that point. But you go through 4 steps of powder, and each step is like around 8 days, I would say, on average, of like time it needs to stay in the tumbler.
This
and
seems
then you take it out, you
intense.
rinse it off, you put in the new stuff. Yeah.
What if you just got like sandpaper and just rub the rock?
Okay. You listen, you could totally do that. I'll see you in like 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. You know, you'd have to do that constantly the whole time.
No, you just do it once until it gets shiny.
Yeah, but it would take you a long time. Is what I'm saying.
No. Like you get like a hand sander.
Yeah.
You turn it on and just touch it to the rock, and it'll like sand it down. Like I have a little like USB Dremel. Like can I just like Dremel the rocks and take like 5 minutes?
No, it would take
result?
1, it would take longer. 2, it wouldn't look as good. They wouldn't be as smooth.
Josh and I are gonna have a contest where I'm gonna Dremel some rocks, and Josh is gonna use his fancy tumbled rocks, and everyone can vote for which rocks look better.
I would love
it's gonna be a
for you
blind
to
rock
do
test.
This. Yes. Please do this. Get a Dremel.
Come
get
at
some
me.
rocks.
Come at my rocks, bro.
Come at my 6-week artisanal rocks and tell me that they're not freaking amazing. Anyway, Shade says, recently Premium Bandai has just released a dark confection box for you to store all your illegal treats in. Wouldn't be the first time Bandai sold toys of fictional drugs. I didn't think about, we talked about this in the Discord, that box. I didn't think about it as a place for your stash. Like you get it and just put your drugs in there, Toby. I didn't think about that.
I mean, you could put anything in there, but yes, that is a great metaphor, or a great like on the nose use case to put actual drugs in the fake candy drugs box.
Right? Yeah. But that's not what's important here, says Shade. What's really funny is Shoma's actor retweeted this announcement, saying, "What? They're selling illegal sweet treats? Please be honest with the person in charge. I won't kill you right away. I just want to ask what to do in the end." And then Glada's actress responded and said, "Shoma, calm down." That's pretty great.
Glada's actress on Twitter, I've said it a bunch of times now, but like she basically the day the show comes out, she live blogs the episodes in character.
That's awesome.
And then like the rest of the day, it seems like she keeps talking to people, but she's actually like fantastic for the social media aspect of what isn't like specifically her job, but tied to her job. Like she's like super good about like playing a character, making jokes about like, oh, look at my little brother Shoma, his tummy hurts today. He must be chilly, blah, blah, blah. Like she's so good at it.
It's really cool to see someone like genuinely excited about the role that they're playing on TV too. Like we don't really get that often. It doesn't seem like. I feel like the vibe for most English actors, most American actors, is to like not be online much at all. So it's cool to see someone who is both like very online, but also like just very wholesome about the show.
And not even that, but like, I feel like any popular show now, maybe there'd be like one episode where one member of the cast might live blog, and it'd be like, oh yeah, this moment was pretty funny. Like, oh, haha, this happened. But it wouldn't be every week for the entire series, let alone like them being in character and being like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened to my friend, or my little brother's such a pain in my ass, isn't he? And all that kind of shit.
It is very unique, yeah. The producer's blog explains that the rocks that Log 9 8 were actually sugar candy made to resemble a rock. So there you go. And the blog points out how tall Log 9 is in comparison to the other characters. He is around 6'2". By Asian standards, of course, that towers over 90% of the population, Shade says.
A monster.
Yeah, so very, very, very tall person. And now we focus our attention back on Shoma and Hanto. Apparently, Shoma's actor actually did the arts and crafts trinkets on set with some help from the crew. That's adorable. That's really... He's just like sitting there with the crew, like building this little arts and crafts thing. That's really cute. They mentioned how Hanto's actor hasn't been on set with the others for a while, so he seems happy when he's with everyone. That's also very cute. Like, oh my gosh, my friends. So adorable. And then Shade says, all right, that's it for today's trivia. We've officially hit the halfway point for the series. Half a year went by pretty fast, if you ask me. So what do you guys think of the series so far? Yeah, I think we've covered our thoughts. I think we're all very much enjoying it so far. Shade says,
it's the best season I've watched this year.
There you go. Shade says, personally, I'm enjoying the series so far. At the start, I was expecting to see the characters develop complex relationships with each other because I've seen the writers' other works. And it seemed like I straight up predicted what I was going to like the most about the series. Other than the writing, I love the comedy, the pacing, and the actors are really good. Of course, we can't forget the action. Gavv has the same action director as Geets, and holy crap, this guy is just so good at his job. This is beyond Hollywood level of stunt work, and it's being aired on a Sunday morning kids TV show. We're all grateful for that. My only complaint so far is the Stomach family is not very involved in the story. One of the twins died, and we never saw the other ever again for like 10 episodes. Feels like an awfully long time.
Excellent point. I didn't think about.
Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. How that twin storyline is just kind of completely dropped off the face of the earth. Yeah, I guess we have some like Earth-based things to deal with, like with Suga and stuff. But for the most part, just think about the last like 4 episodes or so, and the Stomach family is just gone. But yeah, I agree. The action though is amazing. Shade says, but what I find really crazy right now is even though the series is halfway done, I don't think they've hit a peak yet. They're still building up towards something while all the human drama is happening, and it always makes me want to see more. If the show kept this quality to the end, Gavv might honestly be a contender for the best Reiwa era series for me. So yeah, I like the show.
I feel like that's not... Like, as we watch all the seasons we watch, so obviously I only know Reiwa era stuff. X-Aid was part of that or no? Like I know O's isn't. But
X-Aid is not, no.
Okay. So of all the G shows I watch then, I enjoy when we watch them. And then once the next season comes out and I think about the last one, I kind of reflect on like how, not that it was bad, it's easier to pick out the faults.
Once you're not watching it week to week?
Yeah. So like I all but forget most of Geets, but I still think Geets was a decent season. And for as much fun as Godshard was, like, other than that dumb joke about the episode where they got slimed in the monsters by the in Granny's
the
ghost
one
village,
you remember, yeah.
the one that you know that they made a comment of like, we want people to remember this other spiritual episode, blah blah blah. And I said, the only one to remember is the sliming. Like they all, it was fun to watch it. That show had a bunch of rough patches. But then like Gavv started, and even thinking about like the Treasure Crew or like Treasure Boy and his friends or the Alchemist Kids, whatever, like their grouping seemed amazing. I still think those kids are probably friends, and it wasn't bad then. But like watching like the 3 kids now, it's like holy shit. Does either the writing or the actors / actresses, whatever, like they blow them out of the water. And I feel like even going back to Geets, like it wasn't so much a friend show as it was these 4 people are always together kind of deal.
Yep.
And just seems like, I don't know if it's just recency bias or something else, but I think this is easily the best newer show because when you compare this one by its parts to the other ones, I feel like the misses are kind of glaring, or at least the differences are glaring of like what works compared to what doesn't and everything else.
Yeah, I think I agree completely. Of what we've watched for this show so far, I think that this is the best, and I don't think it's like particularly close. I think they would have to tank things pretty hard for me to change that ranking of thinking that it's the best Reiwa series so far, the best of what we've watched so far. And that's not to say I haven't liked the other stuff. Like, I think Geats is amazing. I had a lot of fun with Gotchard. I think Gotchard's worse than Geats personally, but I still like it a lot, and I like a lot of the characters. But yeah, I think that everything that I liked about Geats and everything that I liked about Gotchard, I think they're doing a better job so far in gavv with. Kind of they're plucking the really good parts about both of those shows, and now it's just kind of all coming together with gavv. So I think that there's some aspects of Geats that are cooler, and there's certainly some like, you know, friendship feel good moments in Gotchard that are pretty high watermarks. But I think all of that is fitting together in gavv super well so far. And if it continues, then yeah, for sure, it's absolutely my favorite of what we've seen so far.
And to the peaks thing, I will say that this episode was slow enough where I do think that we're coming back down the mountain. But we had the joke of, at least like maybe not verbalized, but like you and I talking separately, like Bakuwaje. What the hell was that show called now?
Boom Boomer?
Thank you. Like Boom Boomer, we made a joke where like the first 13 or 14 episodes, somewhere in there, were all amazing. And like, this show is sick. And then they hit like this magic wall out of nowhere. And then the show was like so up and down that it was kind of crazy at some points. But with gavv, like we're literally halfway through, we said 25. So we'll use the normal assumption like it's a 50 episode season. Like the worst bad episode was just one where we kind of moved the plot along, but it wasn't offensive the way I feel like bad Boom Boomer episodes were offensive, or like bad Geats episodes were offensive or whatever. Like, it was just like a slower episode one time, and we're literally like 3.5 months into the show, or like 4 now at this point, I guess. Like, yeah. So I don't know if it's necessarily like peaks or not. I just feel like the show is it's like a flat line, but not in a bad way. It's just a good show. Or a solid show.
They're consistently good at like giving us new crumbs and stuff too, and like Geats was big on the cliffhangers, I feel like, if I remember correctly, kind of the feeling week to week. And this show
I think that's where the show, that, at least for my standpoint, I feel like that's where my joke or comment about that started, where Geats would end on like the craziest high cliffhangers. And then Geats, every time, like 2 minutes into the next week's episode, would just stop the problem or fix the problem, or whatever the like culmination of that issue would just be over right away. Yeah. And that was kind of when I learned like, oh, I guess that's how Kamen Rider shows do this. So like, I know like during Gotchard, make the jokes a bunch. Like in general, my usual takeaway is any issue that comes up is always a 2-episode arc, and it's almost consistent. So it's just like a weird thing they do, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I agree. This is like flatline, but the line's so high. The bar's so high.
Yeah, like I guess the other like comparison would be like, oh, we're just like slowly on an uptick, like we're climbing up the mountain. But I think like with that kind of phrasing, there has to be a crash. Right. And I just don't think like the show is geared that way. Like, I think it's just a steady, constant show where like there might be like bumps up and down, but I don't think it's like peaks and valleys kind of deal. I just think it's kind of like a constant thing.
It's just good TV so far. Yeah. Building towards things. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our emails. So once again, thanks to our emailers. And if you would like to send an email in like our friends here today did, you can send those over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Toby, of course, we also have a Patreon. We haven't mentioned the Patreon this time around, but for just $3 a month, you get access to all the bonus content in our Patreon, everything we've ever put up there, which is tons and tons of content now at this point. An entire watch through of X-Aid, of Black Sun, of Boon Boomjer, a bunch of Kamen Rider O's so far, various other things, opening
unboxings,
boxes,
movies. Got
Absolutely.
a freaking Minecraft server over there. You can go build stuff. You can be your own Kamen Rider build and make a world.
You can do all those things for just $3 a month. Yeah. So we do hope you do check that out. Patreon.com/the comment writers. You also get access to the Discord when you sign up for that, and you get to hang out with us all week long. We've got a nice little community over there, posting things every day, and super fun. I enjoy having a place on the internet to go pop in and say hi and hear what people are talking about. That isn't, X the Everything app. That feels good. It feels a little bit more positive. And Toby, I want to start a new little thing here today.
Oh no.
We're always telling people to go review the show and share the show with friends and stuff like that. So starting today, and ending when I decide we're going to end it, if you review the podcast on Spotify or on Apple, and you send us an email to cast@kamenridersucks.com with proof that you reviewed it, showing me your review, showing me your rating of it, I will gift you a 1-month membership to our Patreon for free. So if you want to get in the Patreon and check it out, give us a review somewhere. If you've already reviewed us and you still want to take advantage of this, show me that you told a friend about this. Show me a text message chat where you sent the comment writers to a buddy and said, listen to this, and I will also let you in. So yeah, send those over to cast@kamenridersucks.com if you want to partake of that, and I will send along a gift link. And yeah, hopefully you like it, you stick around, but if not, you can binge everything you want in a month and never hear from us again, and that's fine too.
I think so. I think we figured out that there's 20 some days of content. I'm trying to think if I did the math wrong on that. But there's it's 150 episodes. I don't know, whatever math that comes out to. I'm pretty sure if you could, I think you could binge the shit out of everything, and you should be able to fill up a month, assuming you're gonna eat and sleep and do other normal life things that people have to do to survive. So let's call it a challenge, even, where we challenge you to get this 1 month for free or to sign up for a month and try to binge it all. Yeah. And then write us at cast@kamenridersucks.com and be like, yo, you guys are garbage. I got 1 month. I went through all your stuff, and I'll be proud of you. And then, maybe we'll give you a special shout out or something. I don't know.
I'd love to hear that. If someone sends me a screenshot of them reviewing the show, they get a free month, and then after the month, they tell me at the end, I watched everything that you guys put out. I'm canceling now, and you suck. That'd be amazing.
I'll be back in 6 months, maybe, when you refill the coffers here.
Yeah. Exactly. I will say on the gift link thing, I think you do have to. It doesn't work for current subscribers. I apologize for that. I don't think that I can link you guys to that. So this is new people. But the existing people, I already love you. I get it. You get it. Anyway, that's how it is. All right, that's gonna do it for our show this week, Toby. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On X the Everything app, it's Life of Tobes. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on Retro Achievements, it's Tobes Plays. Where Josh, I am now in the 4.7 top percentile or some number, however the hell you're supposed to present that.
Nice.
The top 96th percentile, or the top 4% or somewhere in there. Lots of games, Josh. Josh, I'm learning how to speed run at Donkey Kong Country right now in order to finish that stupid game. Yeah.
You got to start streaming then. Start streaming in the speedrunning category or whatever for Donkey Kong Country. Build a following.
The final achievement for Donkey Kong Country is beat the game in under 70 minutes. So
sounds hard.
It took. So see, you say that, and that's other people mention that to me as well. But I 101% of the game in 4 hours. And granted, I played the game. I had the game as a kid. I 101% of it then. I did that once in my early 20s when I was home from college. So I at least know where most of the secrets are. But doing 100% in 4 hours also seems crazy to me. I know too much.
Yeah, that also seems like a crazy stat as well. So maybe you got it. I don't know. Maybe you're ready.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna smash the records or something.
Well, we're all rooting for you, buddy.
Yay.
For me, you can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol, and you can find the show on Blue Sky as well at commonwritersucks.com. And again, yeah, we do hope that you review the show on the platform where you're listening, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We do have some reviews over on Spotify. I don't think we have any on Apple Podcasts yet. But any bit of that helps. Sending us to your friends helps. Subscribing on YouTube helps. All that stuff is good. And we hope most of all that you come back next time to hear about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 26. And in the meantime, have a great week, everybody. Peace.